Then I came back. CTV had a layoff. The recession hit. They closed down all these bureaus across the province, across the country. Mine was one of them. And they gave me a choice. They said, you can come back and you can wait out, work in a part-time job behind the scenes. And wait, shall I say, for a full-time job, or, go about your merry way. I sat there and I thought about it. Why not go about my merry way? Why not move to Germany and be with my love? I'd already done the traveling thing. Now I've been there. I'm cool. I'd already done the famous thing. My dreams were coming true. Now all I needed was the missing piece. So I threw caution to the wind. I gave up my family, my friends, my career that I had worked so hard on because I wanted to follow love. He proposed to me exactly halfway between Canada and Europe. Of course, I said yes. That's so romantic. So I got there. The first few months were beautiful. They were tough. I didn't know anybody. I was completely alone. I wasn't even allowed to drive our car because we weren't married yet. And in the military, you have to basically be married to be able to have any of the rights of tax-free benefits, which was a car. And then it got tougher. The first time I caught him. I dealt with it because I wasn't going to fail. I wasn't going to show everybody back home who said, well, you're giving up a lot to go with this stranger. But I wasn't going to give up because I caught him being unfaithful for the first time. So I was like, we're going to fix this. We've got this. I'm on it. It's okay. And then the fighting happened, and the fighting got traumatic. The fighting got torturous. The fighting got soul-destroying, and then I caught him again. And yet I stayed because guess what? I was pregnant. And what do you do when you've just given up everything and you have moved across the pond? You have nothing left in your former life. You've transported it all the way over there. You say, I'm going to fix this. He's a soldier. There's something not up there that's working right. We'll fix it. A year and a half into my stint in Germany, I gave birth to my son. Beautiful, beautiful little boy. I didn't actually anticipate having kids either. I should mention that I was on birth control. So that was a big surprise because kids weren't exactly in the plans, but I am so grateful that they are and that he was at that time. So after I had my son, we went to counseling. We tried to fix it, but the fighting got worse. The fighting became a mental game, a mentally destroying game. I was told how bad I was at everything. I was ripped down to my knees. And then I got pregnant again. Because even though my marriage was bad, it wasn't always bad. And my life in Europe was really good. I traveled. I got to make amazing friends who I still keep to date. I got to do things that people could only dream of. I worked for a newspaper over there part-time. It was awesome. But my home life sucked. Really, really, really bad. But when I fell pregnant a second time and I was told how bad it was that I was pregnant by the one person who should never tell you that they're upset that you're having their child, I said, I don't know what to do here. I thought maybe if he leaves the army, maybe if he gets out, everything is going to be okay. That head, we can fix it. That head is going to be okay. And as luck had it, the army offered him an early retirement package. So we took it, of course. It was either that or go to Brunei. I was totally down with Brunei, just for the record. But we decided to immigrate back to Canada. I was going to get a job back in TV. I was going to start again, and I was going to support our family while he immigrated on my sponsorship. I came back in August 2013 with 2 small children. He followed a few months later. It was good. I got offered a job back in Newfoundland at the opposite TV station, the competition. They were impressed with what I did a few years earlier, and they said, hey, come on back. I said, cool, let's go. I was going to thrive in my career again. I was going to focus on that instead of focusing on my failing love life and my failing family, while still supporting my beautiful children. So we went out there, and I thought, we're going to fix him. We'll get into counseling. We'll get it all sorted. But we didn't. We didn't. It got worse and worse, and I was blamed for everything that was horrible. So in front of the cameras, I'd put on my smile. I was on magazine covers. I was on record in magazines of being so happy with my life, and I would tell the world how awesome it was. And I lied through my teeth every day because I did not want anyone to know that I was failing. and that I was in torture. And then I had the moment. They say 3 strikes, you're out in baseball, and I was finally out. It was done. I could not take another one of those situations. So I called up my knight in shining armor, my dad, and for the first time I broke down. I told him everything that I was going through. I told him of the torture, of the hell, of all the fights, of everything that hurt up here. And I said I needed help. I finally admitted I was failing, and I needed to come home. Thank God for the knight in shining armor that is my dad. He is an awesome man, and my mom too. Because on Valentine's Day 2015, I got my 2 babies, 4 suitcases, no money in my bank account, a shipment of really crappy furniture, and I came home. I didn't have a car either. And I restarted from scratch with the help of the most wonderful family anyone could ever ask for. Thank God I had somewhere to fall because most people don't. I am a lucky woman. We started getting into our rhythm, and it was hard. I love my parents, but 34 years old, moving in with 2 kids. Wow! Mom and Dad were so happy. But they were the best thing that I could ever ask for. They gave me a chance to actually restart my life. They helped me with my confused kids. They put me into counseling. They said, you got to get this shit sorted. Pardon my French. But you got to sort out your head. And I did. And I got a job at CTV working in promotions, something I'd never done. But I was like, cool, it's part-time. I can put diapers on my baby's bum. Life is good. And it morphed into becoming the first multimedia journalist in the region. And then I got to work and help develop the Guelph CTV website. So I was doing great. I was starting to actually get me back. And my kids were doing well. They were in a stable environment surrounded by really good people who could teach them really good lessons. And then out of nowhere, my knight in shining armor got sick. Not man flu. He got really sick. Cancer sick. And at that moment, I got mad at the world. I said, how could you do this to my family? How could you do this to us again? We're going through hell as is. How? How are you doing this? He died 2 years ago. And with it, a little piece of me died. But what I gained from his death was the fact that all my dots were connected. When I didn't understand that they were connected, I sat at his grave, openly weeping, trying to figure out what had gone on and why the universe was so mad at us, why they were so mad at me. And it all hit me like a flood. The tears streaming down, I pieced together my life over the last several years, and I realized that everything happens for a reason. Cliches are cliches for a reason, and everything happens for a reason. Had I not gone to Newfoundland in 2007, I would never have lived out my dreams as a TV reporter. I mean, I was a camera girl for years. I would never have met the soldier. Had I not met the soldier at the time I did and come back to Sarnia when I did, I probably wouldn't have married him. Had I not married him, of all people, I probably wouldn't have lived in Europe and lived out that part of my fantasy life. I probably wouldn't have had kids. Genuinely, they weren't really in the cards. Because I had kids, I actually know what love is. I know what unconditional love is and what sacrifice actually means. I understand what life is all about. Had he not done what he did in Germany and then repeated it and repeated it and repeated it over and over again, I wouldn't have appreciation for what love and kindness actually means, because I wouldn't have a comparison. Had he not done what he did when we came back to Canada, had the Army not offered up a retirement package, we might not be back in Canada. We'd still be in Brunei. And then when we came back to Canada, had we not come back when we did, I probably wouldn't have ended up in Newfoundland again on the news, living out my dream job, doing my thing. He probably wouldn't have done what he did again. Enough straw to break the camel's back. And I probably wouldn't have had the courage to leave because I wasn't anywhere near my family when I was in Germany, but I was close enough when I was in Canada. Had we not come back to Ontario when we did, my kids would never have known their grandfather the way they did. They would have never seen what a role model actually was, what a good person actually is when it comes to a relationship. I would have never had the final moments with my dad that I had. That week before he died, he looked at me and said, I just want you to be happy. And I can guarantee you, had anything else played out differently, had anything else changed, I wouldn't be up here on this stage, living life in the present, talking about this openly for the first time, being happy, in love with a beautiful person, celebrating my friends, my family, everything around me, every day with gratitude and looking at my kids and saying, we got this, dudes. I know I'm a single mom and I'm a bit crazy, but we got this. I definitely wouldn't have understood the cliche that everything happens for a reason. Thank you.